Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Hydra, and this is Rust Console Edition. Are you ready for what I have in store for you today? Well, if so, then like, subscribe, and follow me. Alright, so let's just hop right into episode 2 here, shall we? So, this is the OR blocker battery backup system. So, why do we want to use this? Well, the main reason we want to use this is because when you plug the battery in directly and then you run stuff off of it, you get a 20% loss of the battery power that you put into it. So this battery right here can do a maximum output of 50. So you would think that if you put 50 power into it, that you'd be covering what you're using, but you're not. You would actually only be getting 40 power. So eventually this battery would end up draining. So um, that one of the reasons why you want to run your stuff off of straight power is to avoid that 20% loss. Another thing that we have to realize with these batteries as well, especially when we're using medium batteries and we're talking about an early wipe slash starter build, is we're going to be running off of solar only. So not only do we have to cover what we're using during the day at the time, but then we also have to cover extra for the night because we aren't receiving any solar power at night. So to make a long story short, in order to run this whole system, you want to be using um, a minimum of four, but you want to have, in my opinion, the best case scenario, you want to have five solar panels up on your roof. You want to have three of them facing south, you want to have one facing southeast, and you want to have one facing southwest. So the battery blocker system, backup blocker system, is actually these four pieces right here. These two pieces right here are your automatic light system. And these three pieces right here are what's going to be running our four turrets over here, as you can see. Now, this is the bare basic system that you're going to be wanting to set up. And the reason you're setting up this system, one is because we want lights, so having at least one light in your base at the very beginning is going to help you. A quarter of our time is spent in darkness, so if you are able to be productive in that time, all the better. And then because it's early in wipe, we don't have very many BPs or we have no BPs at all. Turrets are going to be rare, so we're only going to be able to hook up a couple of them. So we have room for four, or you can replace these with Tesla traps. Anything really, but this is what I believe to be the best setup for early game or to protect a farm, whatever. Um, so, um, So how does this system work? Well, following these black lines, these are our solar panels that's up on the roof. I don't have all of the solar panels connected to this that I should, but these are just an example. And then we have what's considered our main line. So this is our direct power coming from our solar, and all of my systems are functioning in the same way. So you can see each line represents a specific thing. So red right now is our main line. It's coming up into here, into this electrical branch, and this electrical branch, we're not going to change the configuration to this. It's going to be our default 2, and then it's prioritizing 2 power into blocking this blocker, which is preventing power going into our light. So that's what's creating our auto light system. As soon as we're no longer receiving power, this will no longer send power out to our blocker, blocking it, meaning the light can turn on. The battery will turn on and cover the power for the light. Now, the remaining power out of that, which would be about 98 power, will go into this electrical branch, and we're going to configure this electrical branch is going to be 49. Now, the reason we're going to be setting this electrical branch here to be 49 is because of the battery that we have connected to this system. So this battery can only do a maximum output of 50, and then it's going to be running through this blocker here, which takes the power, so it's going to be putting out 49 power. So this can only get 49 power to this point, so we want to match that with this one. And the reason we're matching that is because if this stuff up here, let's say, costs 48 power to run or 47 power, whatever, to run, and we only set this to 30, then we're not going to have enough power to run everything. But if we set it to 55, then we're putting in too much power and we're going to be losing power that we could be using to charge our batteries. So that's why we're setting this to 49 and we're prioritizing that power out this left side here. And that's being then sent into our light switch here, which is sending the power out. But because we're not getting any light right now, because we don't need our lights right now, because we're receiving power, that's just being held there. And then the remaining power is being kicked out into our turret setup. Um, this electrical branch here is going to be set to 10 because we're running one turret off of it, and then the remaining 31 power will be sent off into this splitter, and then 10 power will be sent out each one of these to our turrets. So um, now what happens at night is we're going to lose power. So um, sorry, we're setting out the 49 power. So that means we have power still left over because again we're receiving 100 power with our 5 solar. So the remaining power is then being sent out here, and our charging line is always going to be our green line. So our green line always leads to the battery. So our green line is being sent out here. Now, because we are charging the battery, because we're receiving enough power to run everything, we're receiving excess power to charge the battery. We're going to block the power coming from the battery because we don't need it. So because we don't need the power from the battery, we're going to just sit here and charge the battery without actually taking anything from it. And then the remaining power will be sent into our battery. Now, when nighttime kicks in, we're no longer going to have enough power to block this blocker, so our power will be sent through the blocker into our OR switch, and then it will take over powering all of our stuff for the nighttime. So that's how this system works. Again, you want to keep this battery away from this system because if this battery gets destroyed, the system will continue to work during the day, but it won't work at night because you won't have the battery to run it off of. So that's the pros and cons to the system. The pros to the system is the fact that this battery does become a backup. You're having to use less energy, um, and it just kind of looks nice, and it gives you more flexibility with your power. You don't necessarily have to have these hooked up to turrets. You can run whatever you want off of this thing and not have to worry about power. And the main drawback to this system, though, is when it gets into a low power state. So because we're running off of our 5 solar panels and they're placed correctly facing south, southwest, east, southwest, we don't really have to worry about this as much. But let's just say we were only producing 60 power. Well, because we're only producing, let's say 30 power. So because we're only producing 30 power, we'll kick out that 30 power out here, but it won't be enough to block the blocker anymore because again we need more power to be charging the battery. So the blocker won't be blocked, so the battery will be activated and it will be sending out its power, and because its power is going to be higher, it's going to send out its power, meaning that all of this power is going to be wasted. So anything below 49 power or 52 power. So anything below 52 power will actually be wasted power. So that's why this is, again, an early stage system. But really, that's only the only downside to creating this system versus connecting directly into the battery and then running everything off of it. So yeah, that's lots of good sides, very few downsides. So definitely hook this up in your starters or if it's in a small area that you want to protect. Uh, yeah. So hey, speaking of which, there's my little lights now. Right, you just turn them all on. So yeah, this is the OR blocker battery backup system, and I'll see you guys in the next one.